Uh-huh. Oh, yeah. Yeah, we could do that. Oh, yes, for sure. We can do that too. Uh-huh. Yeah, we can do all of that. Does that sound familiar? You ever been in that situation as a sales rep? Now, you probably listen to this and you're probably like, Donald, you should know not to say yes to everything. But do we? And that's the problem. Sometimes we got to set boundaries, man. We got to tell people, no, that ain't right. Can't do that. And on today's episode, my guest, Craig, is going to tell you exactly what you should be saying and how you should say it and how this is going to help you to make more money. Shoot, my client's calling back. I got to go. See you inside. Oh, yeah, let's do that. Sounds good, man. Hey, everyone. Welcome to another great episode of the Sales Evangelist Podcast. I'm your host, Donald C. Kelly, the Sales Evangelist. And I'm super excited for another great episode. I'm super excited to be here with you today. And on this episode, we're going to evangelize an effective process. Yes, how to say no. You and I both know as a sales professional, you got to set boundary. Otherwise, you're just going to get run over. And you also got to set boundaries with people outside of sales, just like in business and in life in general. And I promise you, if you apply these principles, they're going to help you out tremendously. Our podcast is dedicated to helping you build pipeline and convert more of that pipe. And if people are coming into your process, ain't helping you to do so, send them away. Promise you this episode is going to help you too. I want you to connect with Craig. You can find more of his information in the show notes. He's one of the original co-founder of an organization called OneStream. It's a powerful software, and you can find out more details about it. Craig's going to mention it a little bit as we dive in. But the reason why I brought him on, because not only was the topic intriguing, but also with his background and his experience selling and leading organizations, I felt that the insights that he could bring to the table is going to help you out if you apply them. So I want you to check it out and take it and go use it, man. It's going to work for you. Let's go ahead and dive in, get a chance to connect with Craig and to see how we can apply this to our lives. Craig, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Donald. Really glad to be here.
Of course, man. I'm really looking forward to this conversation. Setting boundaries, it's needed. I mean, between you and I, we both know that there's a lot going on for each and every one of us as prospects, as sales professionals. And sometimes we need to, especially going into the climate we're in, where maybe a challenging time in the economy, we need to make sure that we're working with people who are, actually can do business with us. We need to make sure we're doing things that are proper. And I would just love to get your take and some thoughts on this. But before we do, why don't you tell us a little bit more about what you do, man?
Yeah, great. So my name is Craig Colby. I'm the president, and I'm one of the co-founders of a company called OneStream Software. This is actually my second company. Started a company in 2000 called OneStream Software, coincidentally enough. And I ran all go-to-market activities at that company, and I do the same here. But I also run services and customer success at OneStream as well. And OneStream is an intelligent finance platform, and its goal is to reduce the complexity of financial operations. So we have over 1,000 customers worldwide, and every single one of those is a success and a reference. That's how we run the organization, is to deliver success. So some of the themes that we're hitting on today, which is expectation setting, it's kind of the first foray into being able to deliver success, right? And we really think of ourselves as the financial brain. Okay, we equip those finance departments and those people that run those processes with the insight so that they can make faster and better decisions, more informed decisions based on what we think of as one known truth. And that's really our real differentiating factor, is that we have the ability to replace multiple spot solutions with one unified view, one common data definition, so that they don't have to spend time moving, validating, and reconciling information from one spot solution or point solution to another. And they can just see one version of everything. So we typically take out several different products, which means that we have to have enormous capability to be able to do those things. And we do it in such a way that is so unique. And it comes to one of the other points I'd love to discuss with you, that customers don't even know we can do it that way. So they don't even know what is possible. So That's sort of a nutshell on what OneStream is. Our space is called corporate performance management, and it's things like financial planning and financial close, consolidation, reporting, and analytics through
Well, love it.
a single extensible platform.
Well, I'll do this. I have our team after this show episode. We'll put some of that links in the show notes so folks can get access to it and kind of learn a little bit more about it. Um, and this is one of the reasons why wanted to bring you on the show, because not only do you come with the wisdom of your experience working with, obviously different B2B companies, but you and your organization, clearly your previous organization, you've done it before, and now you're doing it again with the clients that you guys have acquired. But there's three main things that we need to understand in our previous conversation that salespeople need to know when it comes towards setting expectation and during that sales cycle. The first one you said was just setting expectation, like the properly doing so. Number two was around the become the power of no, and then being a trusted advisor. And then the three was know and add to it. Here's why. So if you don't mind taking a few minutes, let's just tackle each of these here for a second when it comes towards setting boundaries and expectations in a sales process. Let's talk about the first one.
Yeah. So when I think of it as a representative of the company, you need to know very well, Donald, what you do, but also what you don't do. Right? Both are equally important. There is always a tendency for a customer to make assumptions on, because they do this, they can also do this. But that because they also do this might be so outside of the realm of what you really do, and they just might not know it. So really understand what you do and what your company doesn't do also is super important. If you're going to deliver a success at a customer, I say this, and every sales kickoff, every sales training I do, I talk. You have a responsibility to your customer to set their expectations properly. They don't have a chance of success if they've started from a false premise. They have no chance of success if they've started from a false premise, right? So you have to set their expectations properly on what they're going to be able to do, but also what are the business outcomes that they're realistically going to be able to achieve, and how can we measure those, and how can we at the end, when we've delivered them, how can we come back and validate that they've achieved the business outcomes that you've set forth in the first place. So you can't go in and make a lot of promises that will never be achieved, because you've set yourself up and you've set the customer up from, any chance of being successful, because they'll have a false premise to start with. So I take it as a personal responsibility to ensure that we're properly informing our customers exactly what we can do, where we do play, where we're really good, but areas where we don't play and where we shouldn't. You shouldn't apply the technology. It's not going to deliver the business value that you're looking for in the process. So, we call it yes man in the software industry. And when we started the company, there were so many jaded customers out there. Yeah, the last company told us they could do all this, and the last company told us they could do all this, and they couldn't deliver it. And now you have to make up for the sins of other vendors. You do. You have to make up for it, right? And you have to prove beyond a shadow of a doubt. It's almost like the burden of proof on you is even greater because of the missteps of another generation of sales professionals out there. So, when I think of this job, sales is a really strategic job, Donald. This is not something just you got a good smile and a good personality and you can speak well and you'll do well in sales. It's strategic, and it's applying the right value, the right cadence to the right business problem to make sure you're delivering for your customers. If you do it well, you build up a business. I think of it as the most entrepreneurial of all the jobs out there. You're judged by how you do, and the best ones at it are the ones that are the most forthright and set the expectations properly and truly want their customers to be successful because they know they're going to need that customer to talk to another customer, and word of mouth is everything. And you know, it's a small world, Donald, right? People
Yeah.
talk. One bad reference will kill 1,000 good ones.
And, go back to one of the things that you said. I remember when I was a new sales rep, I was that yes man. And the thing that I had a fear. I was a people pleaser. And I think that sometimes you get that with outgoing people where they tend to be those people pleasers. So that's why I loved your statement where it's like, it's not just like a pretty face and being outgoing. That's not going to make you a great sales professional. It's one that can be a consultant. And I know you're going to tackle that point here,
Yeah.
being a trusted advisor, but the concept though of just being willing to say unfortunately that's not something that we can do. Here's what I feel that we can do instead for you, or giving them somebody else that they can go to. But being in the software space, I used to always go back to like our development team. Our company wasn't one of the companies I worked for. When my first software companies wasn't a large company, but I would go back to the development head and say, hey, the client's asking for this, and if they're existing clients or a prospect asking for something like this, can we do this? And here I am trying to do these wild goose chase. The people haven't signed anything, but I'm just saying yes. And if I had said no, it doesn't. I mean, they probably could have still done business with us, but I caused more problem than I could have, than I should have, and
Yeah.
it was a lesson learned. I learned it the hard way.
We've all learned
But
those
I agree with you.
lessons. That's part of the learning curve of being a sales professional, though, Donald. We've all done it.
Yeah,
We've all. I one of the first products I sold, I was told by our company that it cured cancer. This thing is going to sing, and it did not. And I didn't realize it. I didn't realize it. I didn't know any better. I didn't know the
yeah,
product wasn't what uh, we all thought it was. I really didn't. And so I sold it
yeah.
with all of my energy, and I gave them the promises that I was supposed to give them, and we were supposed to be able to achieve, but we couldn't.
No,
Wasn't even close, and I couldn't sleep, and my customers didn't like me anymore, and I had to get out of the job. I had to leave the company. That's when you have to
wow,
leave the company because you're not going to have a chance for success there because you've been set up for failure, if you will, and it really is a culture thing. It really is a company thing. Also, you have to believe in what you're selling to do it well, and that's super
yeah.
important as well.
So now that I've built up this idea of not only of setting the expectation, but letting them knowing what I can offer and what I can offer, setting that expectation up front. Now is the power of no to talk about that.
Yeah.
Why don't you give us some little insights on the power of no and becoming that trusted advisor?
Yeah, awesome. So it is the most powerful word, in my opinion, to moving yourself from someone who's trying to collect revenue to someone who's actually acting in the best interest of the customer. It is the most powerful word you can use as a sales professional. No and, no or, and no why. Those are all acceptable things to say, but very often, this sounds crazy, Donald. The customer doesn't really know what they want. They think they want
Mm,
something, they're asking for it. And when you say no, why, or no and, or no but, this is what we can do and this is why it might be better, or no, why do you ask? Let's figure out what you're really trying to accomplish, and maybe together we can come to a consultative approach to achieving the business outcome you might be trying to do, but maybe in a different way. Or maybe it's just no, we don't do it. And I don't want to set your expectation that we do it because, again, it's not going to work out well for either of us. So to me, no is super powerful. I always like to smile when I say it. No, no, we would not do that. And this is why. Actually, we have another approach to it. Or no, we wouldn't do that. We had a customer, and they said, well, we want to put the power of this capability in every single business user's hand, and we want them to instantly be able to create these models. And I asked the question, okay, so you want them to instantly create the model, and the models you want us to create that you created, how long did those take you? Well, one took a year, one took 2 years, one took a year, but we want it to be instantly created by an end user. Well, you want magic, right? That's not, no, that's not going to happen. That's not a realistic expectation from the system. What you do want to do is you want to create a group of professionals that actually understand it, can create the models. You do want to be able to and can do it faster than a year, but it's not going to be instant. And just setting those expectations, and we ended up winning that deal. Our competitors were saying they could do it instantly, and we went into workshops and we showed what we did and how we did it, and the fact that it was going to deliver the business outcomes that they truly did want in the end, and we were able to win the deal, and still a phenomenal customer reference today. But it starts with no.
Love that. And being confident. And I would just say, if you could add one take to this, like, how do you get to that point, though? Like, how can you teach that maturity to be willing to say no?
Well, sometimes the thing you teach. So what I taught, I just went to a training class. I delivered some content for the training class, and I actually didn't teach them to use the word no all the time. I actually taught them to use at the start the words "I don't know," because they truly didn't know. They couldn't speak about one way or another confidently yet, and the idea being that they needed to bring someone of experience in to help answer the question. So it really is an experience thing, Donald. If you're not confident in why it's no, or that you have the right answer, you have to go with "I don't know." That's another credibility statement that will win you over, I promise you, with your customer. Saying "I don't know" and getting back to them, again, it's a credibility builder of that trusted advisor status, rather than someone just out to acquire revenue from that company. So that's what I teach them. And then as you learn, as you become part of the community and ecosystem, you start to learn the parameters of what we do, what we don't do, and you can be more and more confident as your experience grows. But when you start, to me, I don't know to start, because you might not know the specific reason why or why not yet. You might not be experienced enough.
Love it. The part here, the last part here was almost like they don't know what they don't know, like the prospect, and you got to, you may say that no, and you kind of gave that in that example that you just gave, but here's how, and try this instead, or whatnot. Talk to us about that component, that step of the process.
Yeah, and I think you and I talked about this, but this is the unconsidered needs. They're not always considering what might be possible out there. They think they know because they did it one way in the past, that this is the way to do it, but they don't know, or they don't always see the big. So they're asking you for this, and you can legitimately deliver this. But if you can get to them and say, have you thought about it, and are you considering the ramifications of just delivering this? And will that deliver the business outcomes that you're really after? Because there's so many other needs out there that you may not be considering. And I know that's near and dear to you. Those words are near and dear to you, but they're unconsidered needs. They have not considered the needs yet, because it's no one's fault. They don't have the experience to be in a position to consider them yet. So it's your job to help them consider those unconsidered needs of what they don't know yet, and help educate them on what's really out there and what other solutions might look like that can more fully inform them, help them better develop a hypothesis on delivering those business values, those business outcomes that they really want to achieve. But it's hard to do. You have to convince them to get off of this and start looking a little bit more big picture at the business problems they're trying to solve and think about things a little bit different. They don't always know what they can and can't do.
Love it.
So
That unconsidered need is a game changer, because I just think about it from my perspective. If I'm a buyer, I may think and I may know in my heart that I want a, um, I don't know, widget A, but I don't sell the stuff on a day to day basis. I don't use it on a day to day basis. As a sales professional in an industry, the sales professional might say, Donald, yes, widget A could work. However, I can sell you something cheaper and I'm going to make less money, but widget B is going to be your best fit.
yeah,
And here's why.
yeah,
I didn't know that. I had no clue. I had no clue about the industry changes. I had no clue about stuff that was going on in Sri Lanka, that our products being made. Like, you have more knowledge than I have, and that
yeah,
prompts me. But you doing that, make that trusted advisor status.
yeah.
Now I'm going to listen to you and I'm going to come back to you. So you're going to make more money, and I'm probably going to buy bigger and more expensive stuff from you because you made it right the first time. So
Donald, the best sales professional
phenomenal.
keep their customers and they keep them happy. And
Yeah.
you can't do that if you're not acting in their best interest. And sometimes it's in their best interest for you to say no. Sometimes it's in their best interest for you to really push to get to that extra level of education and due diligence so that they can see the big picture. You have to almost fight for the right to present the best options to them when you're acting in their best interest. They'll thank you later. I always say that's what I told my sales team was in town. I say my goal in life. We have a big conference every year. We had almost 2,000 people at my goal in life is to go to our conference, and every customer I spoke to, I want them to hug me, not punch me. Right? Like I want them to come up and give me a hug, not not punch me. That's the goal. If we distill it down, if you act in their best interests, you truly do, and that means sometimes saying, "Hey, there might be a better company that's a better fit." I've been out at presentations and said, "Listen, at the stage you're in, we're a really sophisticated software. We solve really hard problems." Well, when you see a customer and they don't have hard problems, they're very simple. For the stage you're in, there's probably a better fit out there for you. If you're telling me you're going to be really sophisticated in 2 years or 3 years, I'll take you down this path because it'll be worth the investment. But if you're not going to be that sophisticated another 5 or 10 years, you're not going to enjoy our solution right now. You're not going to have a success with it. And we have had those customers come back to us later in their life cycle, later in their maturity. Hey, you were the only ones telling us the truth at the time, and we appreciated it. Now we're ready. Now we're ready to do business with you. It sticks. Your reputation it's all you have, right? And that
Yeah.
sort of stuff sticks. It does. It's super important.
I love it, man. Well, listen, I appreciate you taking the time to come on the show today and sharing this wisdom and passing it along to us. I feel that we're well equipped now based on this to be able to move forward. But if there's one major thing you want folks to leave this episode with, what's that one major piece of advice?
Yeah, I think of if you're a sales professional, and you're newer or you're a little more mature or you're super mature in the job. You can always learn. I learn from our team members. When I sit on calls, sometimes I say, "Wow, that was really elegantly delivered." It's always be learning, and I think that's what your show's about, Donald. It's always be learning more about your own company and your own offerings, about your own strategy on how to engage with customers and how to best inform them, and setting the expectations. Probably it's always be learning. Not always be closing. Closing is we want our customers, but that should be a natural conclusion of the fact that you did a
Yeah.
pretty darn good job educating them on the options. It's always be learning. If you seek to learn, you're going to have a chance to be really successful. We have some young people at our company. I'll call them early 20s, and Donald, they're just soaking up. They attend podcasts like this. They soak up every piece of knowledge that can be out there. And you look at them and you're like, they're gonna be phenomenal at their job. They're already good, and they're going to be great. And you see some of the folks in the middle of their career sometimes, and they're not trying to absorb the information as much as they're trying to maybe survive, and they always struggle. Yeah. That's my advice. It has nothing to do with no or expect. It's always be learning, always be trying to improve yourself personally and professionally. No one's perfect. We all have flaws. We've all failed. We've all failed a lot, right? How many deals have you lost? I lost a lot, right? That I should have won. How do you learn? You have to be learning from it to get better. So that's the advice.
Love it, man. Well, if folks want to get in touch with you, what's the best way for them to do so?
Yeah, the best way actually is to go to info@onestreamsoftware.com or sales@onestreamsoftware.com. And both of those I see. So they come directly to my mailbox, and I can respond.
Listen, thank you, man. I appreciate your wisdom. Thanks for coming on the show today, Craig.
Donald, it was a pleasure, and thank you so much.
Hey, that was Craig Colby, and I highly recommend you go and connect with him. If you have not done so already, find all the details in the show notes. Tell him that you heard about him here on the Sales Evangelist podcast. And obviously, if the software can benefit you, try it. The most important thing I want you to try from this episode is the strategies that he shared, the insights. You got to set those boundaries. You got to let people know when, and also challenge them, challenge the status quo, and let them know what they should be doing. The things that they may be asking isn't the best thing for them. And it's a powerful principle. Listen, as always, I want you to succeed. I want you to thrive. I want you to build a stronger pipeline. I want you to have more deals. I want you to have more deals that are going to close, and I want you to convert more of that pipeline. It is all possible. It comes down to you putting the work in and going to town on it. It's going to help you tremendously. As always, I want you to find those right customers. I want you to know what to say when you reach out to them. And I want you to convert those pipeline. I want you to go out and raise your level of thinking and do big things. Take advantage of our sponsors. They're offering you some amazing gifts. Tell them that I sent you. See you in the next one.